Jess. I want to first off congratulate you on episode 50. I think that's a bit of a milestone for us.
Likewise. Usually we give up on everything we try by this long, so this is kind of a big surprise. And in order to make the milestone even a better milestone, people will be able to not only hear our book loss, but they'll be able to see us too. So, congratulations.
Yeah, man, that's been something that it's been in the works for quite some time. We've talked about it for a bit, and we're hoping we don't have any technical difficulties or anything, but this should be the first of our video podcast as well. And those of us that can see us, it's good to see you still repping the colors, Jess. Mm-hmm. And I think it's an important thing to do. It was a tough season. It was a good season. It was just a tough way to end it. And, I think we should start off by just talking a little bit about our Niners.
I have to walk back.
We got a packed episode.
I have to walk back a lot of shit I talked last episode. I knew it. I should have, I should have reined it in, but the moment got me. And then, everything comes crashing down sometimes. And man, that was a good 3 quarters of football.
It was a good 3 quarters, and I think we overachieved this year. I say we as in I was out there on the field with them. Being a diehard Niner fan for most of my life, unfortunately, I wasn't around. Well, I was around, but I wasn't really watching football when I was 2 years old. That's when last time they won. So I have never really seen a Niners Super Bowl like with them winning. And we've since like 2011, we've had the opportunities, but we've just fallen short, and that's unfortunately what happened again. And the thing that makes it just a little bit more worse is it was against the Rams.
Yeah, I talked to Klaus a amount of shit. And, in hindsight, would I take any of it back? Probably not. So, I was talking about this with you and a few other. The biggest thing that comes here that you take away from this, right, is how do you fix this, right? So one way to fix this is one thing that you can just say, you can critique. People go, you can't talk shit about your own team. But I think you can give an honest criticism. I think one thing that I've noticed, that the one thing that Jimmy's gone, so that's the thing. Like, Jimmy's a great.
Thanks for the memories, Jimbo.
And so at Kyle Shanahan, there's one thing I think for me personally, you can tell me, is when he goes up in these games and when they're doing winning, he's kind of got that Andy Reid thing now, right? Where it's like, he's good now. He's good, but he's just not good enough. Like, do you have the sense of where when he's up, he starts playing not to lose versus playing to win?
Yeah. Me being somebody that's never played organized football, I was on a flag football team in my freshman year of college where I could proudly say I had 0 catches. And I do fancy myself somewhat of a quarterback in the little football pickup games that we do play. But, having an opinion on this team, I do think so. That's why in the Dallas game, they just eked it out. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of the same, but that's always the football thing where you go up, you start running the ball more. The main objective is to just run out the clock and maintain that lead that you've built. And that that works a lot of the times, but nowadays with the more high-powered offenses, especially you have an offense like the fucking Rams, leads aren't safe. Mm-hmm. That's what happened with the Chiefs. When we played them against in the Super Bowl, we were up. We tried to do the same thing like you're saying, where you try to just hold on to that lead instead of stepping on that team's neck and extending it and just fucking putting the pedal down. And I don't know if our offense isn't able to do that or what happens, but I think a big criticism people have been pointing out, and I don't know if Debo was hurt, but supposedly for the last 10 minutes of the game or whatever, Debo didn't get the ball.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. It's like and the defense does its job. The defense did its job. the defense held the Packers to how many points? What? Come on. The Dallas.
10.
Dallas. And then even the Rams, you held them under 20 points. You scored 31 on this team before. So I don't know. So that's something I think. Does it come down to, are you afraid? Like, are you trying to protect your quarterback?
And I think a lot of the blame, and I think one of the cool things in this playoffs was seeing just how many Niners fans are out there.
Insane.
Yeah, just seeing everybody come out in full force, and it's dope. I think the NFL is better when the Niners and like the Cowboys and these older teams do good because the fan base is out there. It was dope to see the faithful out there, and I think Jimmy's getting a lot of the criticism, and I think you've been kind of saying like some of this should fall on Kyle as well, right?
I think it falls on everybody. Some Tart catches that interception, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But hindsight's 20/20. I can just sit here and fucking be mad, and I can just cuss out Jimmy, and I can just. But what's the point? Jimmy's gone, right? But Kyle's not gone. So that's why I think it's going to have to fall on Kyle, because Kyle's still going to be here. And I have never coached an NFL team before. So,
You're pretty good at Madden, though.
I am. And I had a friend tell me Kyle needs to go. And I was like, no, Kyle. No.
Oh, yeah, so we could bring Jim Tom Sula back, who's farting in fucking press conferences? Yeah, that's who
No.
Kyle
doesn't need to go. He goes, well, Kyle just can't win. Kyle... And then, there's some stats floating around. Kyle's 53-0 in playoff games in the fourth quarter. So,
I think he's outscored 53-0 or something. Yeah.
So it's like,
for somebody that I think you the night that it happened. We talked on the phone, and I think now what we're gonna get on the pod is a more sanitized version of our conversation.
Fuck fucking Kyle, fuck Jimmy, fuck whoever.
He can. People call him an offensive genius, a wizard. You just kept saying wizard.
What kind of fucking wizard does
And no, yeah, like the pattern's there now. This is the third time. Yes. Can you blame that Falcons fucking the Patriots comeback on him? He was the offensive coordinator. He wasn't the head coach. But then what happened with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in 2019, and then dropping another fucking comeback. For some reason, when they're down, they play better, but when they're up,
so that's it. We just gotta they just gotta go down. They gotta be down going into the fourth quarter, and then we win. I figured it out. That's gonna be our secret. I think we're losing our I think we're losing our OC. I think he's getting a job somewhere else. Our DC is staying. Yeah,
he's staying. Thank God for that. To be clear,
but it was a hell of a game. Outcome didn't come out the way it needed.
Hell of a season, dude. Hell of a season. We were 3 and the Niners were 3-5 at one point, and then to see the resilience, and then last season it was a shit year because they were hurt. Everybody was. Remember how horrific that was, but it was good, man. This team's definitely capable, and I think what people have been saying, they're just kind of like a quarterback away. The offense, we got blue chippers on offense. Defense is good. Secondary on the defense, definitely need to upgrade the secondary.
So speaking of just being a quarterback away, let's see. I think we might have that quarterback, and this is what he had to say about Jimmy. So I'm going to share this real quick.
You learn from him in that way that you'll be able to take into next year.
I mean, Jimmy's the man. You've heard it from. No one's lying about it. I mean, he's inspired so many guys in this room. Everything he's played through this year, everything he's taught me, how he's handled our whole situation. Everyone put us against each other and everything like that in the media throughout this whole year, whole OTAs, everything. But he's been nothing but a big brother to me, this whole year. So whether it's competing with him at practice or sitting in the meeting room asking him questions, I mean, he's been nothing but great to me. And I've been nothing but just thankfulness for him and everything he's done and how he's handled everything. And obviously he's going to be one of my best friends for my whole entire life. So super excited, obviously, to get to spend a couple of weeks with him now in these next few weeks.
Yeah, right. So
you gotta love that guy, man. And I think, one thing that he did say, how the media kind of try to put them against each other, which they do.
I did.
They're like,
I was like, they
oh,
need to fucking bench him and start Trey.
yeah. And then that was a whole thing on, dude. There's like two fucking. It just sucks because it's like we're all Niners fans. Like, can we all just like be united on this? It's like a reflection of how America is too. But it's just torn. People are like Jimmy. People are like Trey. And now the people that were Jimmy fans are rooting for Trey to suck and be a bust. It's like, what kind of a fucking fan are you?
I digress. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. But congrats to the Rams, man. They really.
And it all comes back to the time that I ran into Jimmy Garoppolo at a local Starbucks here in the Bay Area.
Oh, yes.
Good God, is he good looking? Like, I just saw like this beautiful stacked guy walking by, and I was like, and then I look up and I was like, holy shit, that's Jimmy Garoppolo. And then, you know, I was sitting outside, and then we got his order, and he's walking out, and I was like, hey man, I hate to do this, but is it okay if I get a picture? And he's like, oh man, my hands are full, and then just kept walking. And I was like, all right, Jimmy.
And that's the day, like, you cursed his career, and you were like, you will never win. And you didn't realize you did it to yourself, too, but you were like...
Honestly, I think he did me a favor. Fucking, I would have looked like a gargoyle standing next to Jimmy in that picture.
You know, Gucci Garoppolo, man, he rolls up with those Armani suits, looking nice. Like, can you read a fucking playbook?
Like, Trey's like, I learned a lot from him. Jimmy's taught me. I need to get a tailor. Jimmy's like, don't lay your suits down. Make sure that you're hanging and put them on like right as before you go. It's like, what about play calling and any football? You know, Jimmy kind of mentioned a couple things.
Jimmy
there
said
too.
whenever
he
it's
said, make
time
sure to,
and you have any doubts, just throw an interception. Like, God damn it. Like,
he's like, nothing beats a timely interception. It's like, Kyle's like, no, Trey, no. We just can't. And then I don't know if you have it pulled up, but Jimmy actually, you know, he had a little press
I
conference.
do have it
too.
pulled up, so I was going to share
you know,
that too. Because, you know, as much as I can shit on Jimmy G, and I've done my fair share of it, when you're mad, but he's a good guy, man. And this is what he had to say.
Comebacks on the road, ups and downs. It's you guys. So, see ya.
There was more of that. I started.
And I was wondering, like, were we gonna go into the off season like questioning, like, hey, are they bringing Jimmy back? They went into the NFC chain. It seems like it's just done. We were assuming that, but like I saw like somebody reported like a tweet today that like they're searching a trade partner for him. So it's just
there's no point of keeping this going, right? I mean, I think Jimmy. It seems pretty from both those pressers. They both know where this is headed, and then I saw somebody write in the comment section they should bring Aaron Rodgers in for a season or something, and I'm like, that's just disrespectful to Trey at this point. Like, I think we still think you're not ready. We're gonna bring somebody else in, so you know, it was good. And like I was saying before, this isn't just a Niners podcast, so but you know, we are Niners fans. We want to talk about it. Congrats to the Rams. They did a great job.
I'm not saying that.
Fuck it, you know. I'm not going to root for them in the Super Bowl. Let's just be honest, but good for them. See what happens when you take somebody out of Detroit. Like, imagine if the Lions had a quarterback like Matt Stafford.
I think somebody said that that you know Matthew Stafford's in the Super Bowl. Eminem's part of the halftime show. This is the closest like Detroit's getting to the Super Bowl.
Hey, no, I have some, you know, I have friends that are Rams fans.
But you know, that's what happens when you mortgage your like all the draft picks and just go get these stars and put them. I'm bitter. I'm fucking bitter.
But, you know,
and just you know, we'll touch on the Bengals because that was incredible. I think people have been fucking kind of betting against them and not doubting them. They thought it was like a good little story that they won their first like playoff game in I think like 31 years or something, and then I think Joey fucking after that he's like, yeah, this is a standard now.
He's a bad man, right? Like he's just. When I grow up, I want to be as cool as Joe Burrow. Like, that's a cool guy. Like,
yeah, he's like 6 years younger.
But still, I'm just saying, like, that's a cool dude. Like that.
And I think you've been touching on this, like, to think this is his first year back after that fucking crazy knee injury, dude.
And to come back and do the things as he's doing, I think it's just like that dude's he's a beast, man.
Good for the Bengals. I'll be definitely rooting hard for the Bengals, but I've been doubting them like pretty much every round, and I don't know how they're gonna do against that Rams fucking defense, dude. Because that's been the thing with the Bengals. Their offensive line is just not good. I think Joe. Sorry, don't mean to disrespect you, Mr. Burrow. Joe got sacked like 9 times in the game before the Chiefs.
Look at that guy. Come on, that's a bad man right there, right?
Yeah, and I don't know who's got bigger balls on their team, him or their kicker.
Right. Tell that story.
Yeah, I think we touched it last week where fucking.
Oh yeah, we did.
They needed the field goal to beat the Titans, and the fucking kicker walked out there and was like, "Well, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game." And he fucking drilled another fucking field goal to send them to the Super Bowl, and then the big fucking topic that in this past week, Jess, or the week prior after the Bills game was, these fucking overtime rules. You win a coin toss, you win the game. You win a coin toss, you win the game. We went to overtime again. The Chiefs again won the fucking coin toss, but they didn't win.
That's what I'm saying.
The Bengals defense came through, picked off Mahomes, and fucking Bengals. It was just at that point, it was like, it's done once they got that turnover. And if I were to ask you, Jess, after the first time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl against the Niners, if I were to ask you, hey, in the next 4 years, how many Super Bowls do you think this Chiefs team wins?
I would have at least said at least 2. Right?
Yeah. And that's just the thing about the NFL. And that's the thing, what's incredible about Tom Brady. That after that first Chiefs win, you're like, oh, they're going to win a bunch. And they've won 1 in the past, I think, 3 years now. And fucking Brady... Yeah, this whole situation about his retirement rubbed me wrong. I get Adam Schefter, you're doing your job. Your job is to do scoops and be a professional snitch, essentially, and leak things. People leak things to you, and you report them. I think if it's like, oh, this trade's happening, or this roster move's happening, this contract move is happening, the team is shopping this person, that's happening. But I think if a guy plays 22 years in the league and is considered the greatest of all time, it's kind of on him, on his own terms. He could announce his retirement. He could put out his own statement. You don't need to leak it like a couple days. Was it the day of the fucking championship games? Like, I think Brady was wanting to let the championship games be done, let the focus be on the teams, and then he was going to announce it. But this fucking dropped early, and I think it pissed him off because, what we heard out of Brady's camp was that, hey, he's not even close to a fucking decision yet.
I thought he was going to, just play one more season just to spite the media. Like, fuck you guys. You know what? I'm not retiring now. I didn't get to announce it. But, yeah, with all due, the guy, he's owed that, for what he's done for the game. 7 rings. This is the first Super Bowl in 19 years. Remember, I posted the stat, or I saw it, that doesn't have him playing in it. Either him, Peyton Manning, the Steelers, or the Niners.
Roethlisberger, or Niners, or the Niners. So
it's pretty insane. And so I think, like you said, he's owed that much for what he's left of the game. Let him announce his own retirement. My friend, one of my friends said maybe he's going to play one more year and get a farewell tour. And no, he's not.
And, some of the things that we saw with, the last year of Peyton Manning, the last year of Drew Brees, the last year of Roethlisberger. Rivers, funny enough, was pretty decent in his last year. He took the Colts to the playoffs. But, Roethlisberger, they somehow managed to get into the playoffs, but he was pretty cooked. Peyton, his last year, that was the year that they actually won the Super Bowl with the Broncos. But he had a noodle arm that whole year. They didn't win, because of him. They, it was mostly on the defense and stuff. But the way that Brady went out was still at the top of his game. Fucking marched this team back. Had a hell of a season. I don't have his stats pulled up or anything, but he had a hell of a season. his stats were like better than ever. And he essentially, like, yeah, they lost, but he still went out at the top of his game. And yeah, 7 championships. He put out a lengthy retirement thing on his Instagram today, I think. What did you say?
It was like very long. I didn't read it.
It's like the man played for 22 years, Jess. It's gonna be long. But I think what came out after was he didn't mention the Patriots or like the Patriots fans or whatever. It was more so geared towards Tampa. And then I think people were like, "What the fuck?" And then again, this is like a report that's leaked. I don't know. They said supposedly he's gonna sign a 1-day contract with the Patriots and finish it with them.
So, I'm pulling up at 2021 his Football Reference as far as he had 5,000 yards in 2021. He had 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 67% completion rating. Not bad, right?
Yeah. Not bad at all, dude. I don't get why his name wasn't getting brought up in the MVP conversation, but hell of a career, Brady. Props to you. I'm not going to lie. I used to root against those Patriots teams until like the last 2 Super Bowls when I was like, all right, this is just greatness. I can't hate on it anymore. And then, just to fucking, it was Jordan going to the Wizards, but he wins a championship with them. That's what he did with Tampa,
everything.
So
we got to see a lot of great stuff. We got to see even this season. We got to see Antonio Brown do his end. So what happens to the Bucks now?
I think they're gonna go
Jimmy
after Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, maybe Jimmy G. I think they still feel they have a good team, and they're just gonna try to go in and plug in one of these other quarterbacks, and so we'll see, man. Again, props to Brady. Let's go, Joey.
If Joe wins, by the way,
Bengals.
he's gonna pull the Triple Crown. He's gonna be able to, in his first 3 years, he's gonna have won the Heisman Trophy, the College Football National Championship, and if he wins the Super Bowl, he's gonna do it all in just 3 years.
Yeah, no other players had all 3 of those accomplishments like ever, and let alone doing it in like a 3-year span. So that's on the line. And then the other narrative in the Super Bowl is the Rams. Sean McVay got a little twitchy in that game with those 2. He was getting a little choky. His team came through though, and Aaron Donald. I think he pulled the defense to the side and was like, fucking wake up. This is one thing that, that I think he said that in an interview that he wants a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford, coming from Detroit. Let's see, man. There's some good narratives. Would have been nice to see our Niners there, but, we'll be there soon enough, I think. The future's definitely bright.
Trey Lance season. We'll win it next year. Or not. Fuck it. Who knows? We'll play it by ear. So this is always like a hard transition to go from sports to movies, but not movies, shows. Nerd shit. So here's the nerd shit segment. We're going to talk about Peacemaker first. And what do you think about the newest episode of Peacemaker? Let's just get into it.
Bro, I am captivated by this fucking show, and I think a lot of people are, because I think James Gunn said that they're already looking, or they're going to be in the works to launch another spin-off from the Suicide Squad. So one of the other characters from James Gunn's Suicide Squad might be getting their own show. I have a hint. If I were to guess, I would think maybe it's the Rat Lady, because she was one
I
of
like
the
how
bigger
James Gunn
capture-
doesn't even
one of the
fucking
bigger-
exist in this universe. He doesn't exist because he's fucking, in this episode, so Peacemaker finds out, spoilers, guys, if you don't already know, if you didn't see the last podcast. So in this episode, he finds out that they framed his dad and stuff. And then he's listing off like a bunch of characters that economists could have framed instead of his dad. And I think he lists like 80 people, right? You sent me a video on it.
Yeah, Cena was just going off. And this has gone kind of viral since.
And one of them, he goes James Gunn, and somebody else, I don't know who else he says before he says James Gunn, and then
Freddy, the guy that plays Vigilante.
Yeah, he goes Freddy.
Freddie Storm, I
and
think
then
he's-
James Gunn, and Economist goes, those two people don't even exist. Like, those aren't even real names or something. So I like that. I thought
It's like Ariana Grande. Blah,
he
blah,
goes,
blah.
Ariana Grande's too innocent to be framed, okay? So, that comes to a head. And they find out in this episode, like, Adebayo finds, like, this factory where they're manufacturing that gooey shit that the moths or whatever, butterflies. Yeah,
Moths.
close enough. Mothra. He probably said Mothra as one of those people. But he finds out where it's being manufactured, and that's kind of where this episode is. They kind of go in there and they try to see, and then he's taken in the previous episode a bunch of helmets. So the helmet that he has in this one is the X-ray one, so he can see who actually is a butterfly and who's not. And this whole factory is infested with these butterflies where they're making this stuff, and they just go in. So, previous to this,
That was a dope scene.
yeah, and I don't know if they have a gorilla. I was like, oh shit, is that gorilla Grodd? Like, no, but it was just like a regular gorilla. I think that escaped from the zoo.
It was a butterfly gorilla. I think.
So he's just kind of going in there, and he kind of has he kind of gets more respect for Economist because Freddy wants to take a chainsaw into this, and they're trying to be covert. And I thought that was, I'm telling you, Vigilante is probably the best character like on the show, hands down, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say him or Cena, but like they're all very likable and they're all just badasses, dude. Like it's hard to pinpoint, but yeah, he definitely, whenever he's on like in a scene, like he definitely steals the scene, Vigilante, just by like how good of a job that he's doing portraying that character. And I thought like one of the cool things, like the bus ride or the ride over before they get to the factory, just the dialogue they're having, and they're shitting on each other, they're talking about music, they're talking about, like, we're getting more information presented to us about the butterflies and other stuff. And then I remember when I watched that, like, and they're also kind of bonding, because at the end of all that, like, they bond over the 11th Street Kids, like a band that fucking Economist really likes, and then Peacemaker happens to like as well. And so I remember I turned to my wife and said that, I was like, that's how you fucking use dialogue, dude. That's how you use dialogue. It's good character development through there. The team is bonding. They're telling us stuff, and it's not just like, we need to go up there and go do this now because they have this. It's like, like that's what we get in a lot of movies, like where the characters literally have to tell us the story. But when your dialogue is good, your characters are good, you could tell the story, and it feels so natural. And I was just really blown away by that. And then, yeah, like you said, I thought the whole X-ray vision, going in there just guns a-blazing, he just fucking has his gun with him just blowing people's heads off. That whole scene was badass. When he has the grenade, like, fucking duct taped to, like, another fucking, like missile or whatever, and then, like, he just fucking tosses that, and she's like, what is that? Like, how big is that explode? He's like, I don't know, I just made it this morning. And,
yeah. And, on the flip side of everything that's going on over here, you have Song, who's kind of talking to his dad and goes, rerun my prints, you'll find out that they'll spoil my son. But Myrn, on the other hand, so Song's almost about to uncover that they do, but then Myrn has somebody else come in and take the place of whoever the head detective is or whoever's in charge there. So Song's kind of catching on. So you have like a couple of things going on. I like how they're still advancing that story. So that's going to like come up later. They're still advancing the story of what's going on with his dad. It was a big thing with him and Economist, like the scene we talked about earlier. But so now there's a new police captain. But then Song also, the detective who's working on the case, she goes to somewhere. She gets help from her uncle, who's a judge, because she wants to look more into what's really going on. Because I think that's going to play a bigger factor into this later on too.
yeah, she's suspecting, like, there's fuckery going on. The fingerprints and stuff are getting changed. Like, what's going on here? And, like, so she's killing it too. She's doing good. So it's good. I'm just blown away by the show, dude. I had no expectations, and like when one episode ends, I can't wait for another. So we get the ride back where they're all covered like in the gorilla blood, because Economist chains down that fucking gorilla, which was fucking crazy. And Vigilante was like, is he doing that to fuck with me? Because literally 15 minutes ago, I said I wanted to do that. And there, we have it. The team is like bonded now. Harcourt takes that picture of them, and then we get a text group with them in it, and then we get the Mermaid Man emoji, which has just been going off on Twitter. Like, I've been fucking tweeting it at James Gunn like nonstop. Anytime he posts something, I just put the fucking emoji up there. And then we have that scene with Adebayo and Peacemaker. Again, they continue to form and bond their friendship, and then early in the episode, we saw Adebayo's mom message her about fucking something about a diary, leaving the diary with him. So she plants that diary in his house, and we'll see where that takes us.
And I love and then she goes back after that, and that's the cliffhanger they leave us on. And she goes back to their hideout, or where they've made their headquarters, and she's fucking around with his helmet, and she sees that Myrn is a butterfly, and that's how they kind of ended on that. And that was a perfect
cliffhanger ending.
There it is. And so yeah, man.
And I like that. I really like that when shows do that. Like, we found out Myrn was a butterfly an episode ago or 2 episodes ago. I can't recall. I think it was at the end of episode 2. At the end of episode 4, we find out that he's a butterfly. And it's like, is this gonna go on for the whole season where they don't know he's a butterfly and stuff like that? But I like it when a show says, no, we're just going to reveal it to the other characters like right away. And so then we're going to see how the story progresses from there. I think Breaking Bad did this a couple times where it was like they were, I was wondering, it's like, okay, when are they going to find this out? And then they just do it right away instead of dragging it out throughout the season. And you have the other fucking characters are getting suspicious or anything like that. I like it when it's just like, here, it's revealed, and then now let's go from here. And any guesses where we go from here?
I think this is with a lot of the other shows, and we've kind of talked about in the past. If you go to the other podcast episodes, we tried to do that a lot. We tried to do that a lot with the Disney episodes. I did. Well, maybe this is
that. I think WandaVision was the one that we did that the worst.
Like, I was kind of like, it was that meme of
Mephisto.
Right? Where I was just like, maybe it's this, it's like a detective trying to fucking, and I'm just enjoying the ride on this one. I really don't know what's going to happen. This isn't a storyline that I'm familiar with, and that's what happens. They're not characters. That's why, like, a lot of people, like, I was recommending this show, and he goes, well, I've never seen any of the other Peacemaker stuff, and I was like, there's literally no other Peacemaker stuff. Like, you don't have to be caught up. Just watch the damn thing. And he goes,
like, this is the ground level, other than the Suicide Squad.
That's okay. They catch you up right off the bat. So if you haven't seen this show and you're still watching a spoiler video for it, I don't know why. Watch the show, I guess. And if you have, then I think you guys can pick up what we're putting down.
Yeah. I think, we were imploring people in the last episode, like, fucking go watch the show. If you're a comic book show fan, like, fucking,
just do it. And if you're, and if you're a Star Wars fan, then you should be caught up on Boba Fett. I hope you have, and if you haven't, and you've watched Mandalorian, you got to watch Boba Fett, because that's just as fucking amazing. And spoiler reviews for Boba Fett right now. We'll start that.
Should we even say, or it's just spoiler? It's like essentially Mandalorian. This episode.
Because I said Mando. So, and he's back. He's back right off the bat. It's like,
it's because I remember you were like, oh, I haven't seen it yet, and I was like, oh, Mandalorian. You're like, I'm hanging up the phone now. It's like, no, that's not some kind of spoiler,
they
dude.
Take it,
like,
they write from 0 to 100, and like, that's what's so amazing about Jon Favreau writing this show is he's made Boba Fett like crazy, right? But then in this show, he shows you how much crazier and more of a badass like Mando is, right?
Is it weird, like, The Mandalorian only came out like 2 years ago or whatever, but I had a feeling of like just nostalgia, like seeing him.
Yeah.
Like,
seeing him
walk out there for the first time.
Mando. She goes, yes, I can see him. I'm watching the fucking thing. And then it's just, he's just a different level. Because, Boba Fett's now later on into his career where he doesn't resort to violence as quickly, I think, or he wants a more of a diplomatic solution, to where Mando's just like, all right. you can either go with me or I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then we see him wielding the Darksaber, and
I can bring you in warm. I can bring you in cold. And
yeah, it was just an amazing
Yeah,
scene.
man.
Like chops him right in the middle, and then walks out with his head. Like I was like, damn, that's my Mandalorian.
So yeah, this whole episode is essentially just like, hey, this is what Mando's been up
Mhm.
to, while all this is going on, and he's back to bounty hunting. He's just like somewhere on the Outer Rim or
Mhm.
something. I don't know my Star Wars lore too much, but he goes back to the armorer and the other last remaining Mandalorian guy, and
There's only 3 of them left,
they
I guess
have
now.
Yeah,
And so,
and one of them like wants a duel over the Darksaber, and
because I guess it belonged to
it's
his
fucking
clan,
epic.
so there's a lot of stories about So I guess the mythology of the Darksaber is, and then he's even told that yes, Bo-Katan wielded at one point, and the thing with the Darksaber is you have to win it in combat. You can't be gifted it, and if it's gifted to you, it brings you bad luck. So, the reason that he's doing the bounty to begin with is he's trying to find directions to the Mandalorian hideout. And then he finds it, and he gets there. So there he finds the armorer and Paz Vizsla, the survivors of their tribe, because everything that happened at the end of... And I had to kind of jog my
Look at
memory.
you pulling up
I know.
names.
So after she talks about how he won it from Moff Gideon, he tells her that he didn't kill Moff Gideon, and that he turned him into the Jedi Order. And she goes, so that you already know he's going to come back at that point, because she even says it, like, you should have killed him. And he goes, I'm sure they'll take care of him. So then the armorer, like... She breaks she asks him where he got the Beskar spear, and he told him that, and then she goes, that's the only thing that can puncture Beskar. So as long as you have that spear, you're gonna have to, it's gonna pose
It puts the other Mandalorians
Yeah,
at risk.
so-
Yeah.
He goes, melt it then, and then she goes, for what? And he goes, I'm gonna make something for a foundling, very specific foundling, for Grogu. And my wife was like, Baby Yoda, like, I was like, yes, I know. And then
Baby Yoda about to get
Right.
iced out in that.
he's gonna make Grogu a
Beskar.
grill.
A grill or like a
Yeah,
chain.
right.
Grogu just has a big old Beskar
And she
chain.
goes, the biggest thing about Jedis is Jedis are free of attachment. You can't give them. And she goes, no, well, that's not our way. And he's like, I'm like his dad, dude. So he's gonna have to have this. So he's doing that, and that's when that's when he gets offered. That's when he gets challenged to a duel. By Paz Vizsla, because he's a descendant of the Darksaber's creator. That basically says his tribe creates it and he doesn't deserve it. So they're fighting or whatever, and then Mando wins, obviously, and he's about to kill him, and then she has them yield, and then she asks if he's ever taken his helmet off. And he's quiet for a little bit, and then he says, yes, I have. And then she goes, well, then you're no longer a Mandalorian,
It's like
Like, come
really
on. But she
extremist.
so then she says there's something he has to do to get it, but then he goes, that doesn't exist anymore. He has to go to the mines under where their planet was.
Yeah, so that's essentially her being like, yeah, that's the only way to do it. He's like, but those don't exist. She's like, yeah.
So he's rejected by his tribe. He's no longer a Mandalorian. So then he decides to go back to Tatooine, and he meets Pelimoto, and she is just like, dude, she's probably one of my, like you said, there is nostalgia, and there she is right off the bat. She's crazy and fucking funny and witty, and she's working on a new ship. He wants a Razor Crest, and she goes, I don't have that, but I have something better for you, And he's like, she goes, this is an N1 Starfighter, and this is like, this isn't a gunship.
Phantom Menace.
Yep.
We saw those in
Mhm.
the Phantom Menace.
So then they have a whole montage of them working on it, and that was pretty cool. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's nostalgia because it's the way they do these episodes. You kind of have this old throwback of Jon Favreau bringing in like this 80s stuff, and others like it's like a whole
And Bryce Dallas Howard directed
Oh, did
this
she?
episode. She directed one other episode in, I think, was it the season 2 of The Mandalorian? It was the one where they go to that one village and they have the AT or whatever. It was a really good episode. I remember like when we did the review for that, I went on like a 10-minute rant about Bryce Dallas Howard, but people were giving her props for this episode too, and people were like, like they want to see her do a Star Wars movie or just get like more episodes or something like that.
I keep saying Favreau because he wrote it, but yeah, she did direct this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was really cool. That whole montage of them working on the ship together, and then you have a little backstory of how Pelimoto used to date a Jawa. Like, and she goes, very hairy. They're very hairy. And then he goes, they'll get me anything I need, and it's pretty cool. So they work on it, and they swoop it up. They make it look nice. And then he goes for his little ride, and this was essentially a Mandalorian episode in Boba Fett. You know,
Yeah.
that's all it was. So you get to see him like take that for a spin. He really likes it.
Gets pulled over immediately.
And he sees the guy remembers him. He goes, "Did you by any chance like used to have a Razor Crest?" And he goes, "Nope." And then he doesn't even jump into hyperdrive. It's just how like quick he is. He has.
My thing, so this is his new ship. You know, we were wondering after Mandalorian when the Razor Crest blew up, like what kind of ship he was going to get. So this is going to be it. It's like, where is he going to sleep?
Yeah.
That was my biggest concern.
Right. Come on, man. I'm sure they have like intergalactic like truck stops. I don't know. Hotels.
Truck stops.
I don't know. He's going to figure.
There was the there's like the TSA. He flew commercial, and they were like, "Hey, you got to take out all your weapons." Yeah. And then
that was
like fucking 10 minutes of him just fucking taking. And then at the end of it, we see Fennec Chand.
Fennec Shand.
I think that's how. Yeah,
it's Shand.
Yeah, Fennec Shand.
Did you say Chang? You're racist.
Like come in at the easy, and she comes in at the end, and is like, "Hey, we got some work for you." And he's like, "Is it Boba?" And she's like, "Yep." And he's like, "It's on the house. I just got to go see a little friend first."
I was so mad about that. My wife was so mad about that because we were like, "Oh, okay, now they're going to show Grogu." And then she was like, "What the fuck? There's no Baby Yoda." I was like, I know. I'm just as angry as you, sweetie." She goes, "No, you don't fucking understand. There's supposed to be a Baby Yoda." And I was like, he's still there. He's probably... So this means, will we get to see another Mark Hamill? Like,
I don't know, man. But then again, I honestly don't know because I remember you had asked us earlier in the season, like, does Mando show up? And I was like, I don't think so. And he got his own fucking episode.
Yeah,
so
I think we might.
Shit if
we might get to see a CGI Luke. That would be cool. Again, you know.
Yeah.
And Baby Yoda, of course.
And then one thing that in the ship where the R2 unit usually sits in the back, she said she hollowed it out. It kind of tells me that's a little Baby Yoda pod.
Yeah.
For him to kick.
That's like a little throwback to him and his hatred for droids. I guess she thought he still. That's why when she initially tells him, she goes, "This is all handmade. No droids helped." And then he has the droids help him make it. But that would be cool.
Yeah, he says thanks, little guy, to one of them. Like when you know. So he's really warmed up. It was just cool. Again, it's weird to feel nostalgia over something that just came out like 2 years ago, but it was oddly nostalgic and it was cool. The episode was badass. Did we, is it a little unfair to Boba Fett that a whole episode went to Mando? I don't know.
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay. There you go. There it is.
Well, thank you guys. So the first half of this was a football and the second half was nerd shit. So, skip to whatever you guys like. 50 episodes in. We're very thankful for all of our listeners and now hopefully our viewers, If you do like podcasts and if you do like talking about or watching stuff, breakdowns about movies, TVs, or sports, give us a
pop culture Punjabi stuff.
Like us, watch us, share us if you think it's worth sharing, and just thank you for listening and watching.
Yeah, here's to the last 50, and here's to the next 50. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Miles Apart Production, I believe it is. I haven't checked it out in a while, but Miles Apart Podcast. Anywhere the podcast
Spotify,
is found.
Apple
What's our new Instagram
the
handle?
Miles Apart Podcast. So we're always I'm always posting clips and stuff from the podcast, memes, whatever you guys like. But the main
memes, just post some of the best memes in the business. So.
That's all. And so the biggest thing is we've Spotify, like you said, Breaker, Google Play.
We're gonna tell Spotify to take our podcast off, actually, like Neil Young did, because Joe Rogan's spreading all this misinformation out there. Just jokes, folks. It's just jokes. That was a big thing that was happening.
Oh, good old Joe. Alrighty, guys. Here's for this week.
Yep. Until next time, this is Jess and Guggins signing off from Miles Apart Podcast.
Bye-bye.